safe haven thing. Yes.
Still? She's still going?
Oh, yeah, that's the young, or the youngest brother, I guess.
You guys.
I had one of those when I was in 3rd grade.
All right, welcome everyone. We'll call to order the Lawrenceburg City Board of Works meeting for March 2nd, 2020. Could I get a roll call, Mr. Fetty?
Yes, Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present's kind of going on.
Police Chief David Snyder.
Here.
Assistant Chief Rob Schutte.
Here.
City Attorney, or EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore. Here. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, under announcements I don't have any announcements for this meeting, this particular meeting, guys. Approval of minutes, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So,
But first, I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll
All
get
those
it
in
out.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That was 2 sets of minutes, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna ask for a separate
I'm
one.
going to say there's a second set.
And then I'll ask for a motion to approve the February 13th Board of Works meeting.
And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Now I'm on
carries.
the page.
Now you're on task. All right, committee reports, Assistant Fire Chief Rob Schutte.
I've handed out to you guys the run totals for the month. The only other two announcements I have is that Chief Tremaine and Deputy Chief Myers and Lieutenant Haith went to Wisconsin today to do the final inspection of our rescue truck. And then next week I'll be gone using a city vehicle for the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, Georgia for the Fire and Life Safety Public Educator class down there. And that's the only thing I have for you guys this evening.
Police Chief David Snyder.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing to report this meeting.
He's not like that in staff meetings. Guys. It's like forever. All right, EMS Director Rick Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did pass out our monthly stats for February. If you'll notice down, especially down on our drug overdose calls and cases where we've had to give Narcan, thankfully they've dropped way off. I just want to report that whatever system is in place, through all of the agencies, something's working so far, and we're really happy about that. So if you have any questions on those run totals, let me know. The other thing I needed to bring up, I've talked to the mayor and Mr. Roulette. As far as our paramedic chase vehicle, I'm hoping that everyone is aware of what that is. Our life squad is called to intercept with other agencies throughout the county and through other counties that come to our hospital to provide advanced life support, paramedic support. And currently, and try to keep this brief, currently what happens when they call us, our squad will go meet the incoming life squad. One of our paramedics will get in their truck, do the life-saving measures, give the life-saving drugs and the more advanced care and route to the hospital. And that's great, we love doing that. However, it does take our squad out of service for that time period for the citizens of Lawrenceburg. Our priority, obviously, is to protect the city. A very close second is to provide ALS care to anybody that calls us and needs that. So it's already been appropriated. The line item's there for the money. We would like your blessing to go ahead and purchase a vehicle for that reason. And our committee, our in-house committee, would like to choose a Ford Interceptor utility vehicle, kind of like what the police have. As far as the safety ratings and the crash test, if we're going to be out on the side of the road, we want to be as safe as possible. So on the second page of your handout, if you look at those numbers, it's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive, but it is definitely, without a doubt, the safest. So if you have any questions, please let me know, but we would like to go ahead and get that blessing to go ahead and buy that.
What kind of lead time do you have?
We're looking at 4 to 6 weeks to get the vehicle in, and then we've already got most of the equipment. We'll have to buy a little bit more equipment, but we strongly feel that this is the way to go.
Just so you guys know, this is something that we talked about during the budget, when Rick and I met and we put the budget together for EMS last year. There was something he wanted as a line item, and they had the money available. So it is in the budget for this year.
Well, personally, I really think it's a great idea. If this happens a dozen times a month, you have to intercept.
Yes, sir. 9 to 15, so I went with 12.
That's quite often taking our life squad out of service.
And Chief Tremaine, the fire department's cooperating with us greatly because they're willing to give a member to make that second crew available. So, you know, our interceptor goes out and then another call comes in. We've got a squad ready to go, another paramedic service. That's what we're hoping to accomplish.
Okay, any other questions, guys?
Nope.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to give EMS Director Clark the authority to go out and purchase this vehicle.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, under new business, Ms. Jenny Felix, electric labor recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor. I am here tonight to make a recommendation for the electric labor position on behalf of myself and the rest of the hiring committee. The hiring committee and myself, we conducted our interviews, we did the background checks, several rounds of interviews, and we have decided to make the recommendation of John Pastallion for the position of electric laborer.
Okay. How many people did you have apply?
We had 40 applicants.
40. Any
Now,
questions?
does this John have the experience of doing this, or are we teaching him all new, or?
Oh no, he has a lot of experience. He's coming over from the parks, Hamilton County Parks.
No,
He's been-
no, he's coming from Miami Ford Power Plant,
Yes,
the stallion is.
Pastallion. Yes.
Yeah, postal was the other one. But yes, he does have a
Okay.
background.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to accept the recommendation Ms.
Second.
Felix talked about, second by Mr. Olet. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And then we're going to table the pool manager, assistant pool manager recommendation for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to request a motion to table that.
Okay, can I get a motion to table that?
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks to the committee. Okay, Mr. Weldon, EMS fire contract.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, in your packet you'll find for consideration this evening a lease and service agreement with the City of Lawrenceburg, and I will defer to the mayor. He has a description of this project, and we would ask that this contract be submitted for approval by a vote of the Board of Works.
Okay, this is the Safe Haven baby boxes, are boxes under Indiana Safe Haven law that allow a mother to anonymously and safely surrender their unharmed newborn. The boxes are like incubators with heating and cooling features. They are equipped with an alarm that notifies first responders as soon as a baby is placed inside. The program has been very successful, and since they were first installed in 2016, have saved dozens of newborns' lives. As of today, there are 25 active baby boxes in 3 states.
I'd like to say I was watching the news about a week and a half ago, and I can't remember what city installed one, but it was used within the first 2 weeks it was installed.
Seymour, Indiana.
Was it Seymour? I mean, that's
Indiana.
one baby that was saved.
So I'd like to get a motion to,
Mayor, if I may, just
Oh, yes.
before we
Yes,
go
sir.
with the motion, I read through this, and the only thing that I could not find was Exhibit B, and it's pertaining to services, fees, and expenses schedule. It was not in mine. I don't know if it has any merit, but it's not in my paperwork. But if legal counsel and everybody else feels comfortable with it, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to accept.
I don't
I
see.
mean, I have an Exhibit A, but I do not have an Exhibit B.
Okay. Same here. I'll email that to all the members of the Board of Works, and so we could have a vote tonight just to conditionally approve that once you receive that Exhibit B. If any of the members have an objection, then we will bring this back up again at the next meeting.
Okay.
If that's a good way to handle it.
It's fine with me.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion then I'd put on the floor is to approve this lease and service agreement pending observation by Board of Works members for Exhibit B. If acceptable, we'll approve. If not, then we'll bring it back for discussion.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Country Club.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, we have in our packets a proposed partial release of mortgage. What I would ask is for consideration to approve this partial release and not to execute the release as tendered. This was presented by Mr. Bucher, but to follow the terms contained in this release, and upon them showing that they comply with the acreage component and the other components of the paragraph that they reference, authorize the mayor to then sign this release. From what we see, the mortgage, and it's actually the second mortgage, it was a renegotiated mortgage, it does contain the provision that allows them to develop less than 20 acres, and that it would be agreed to be released by us. So we would just confirm that, and if that is the case, then because that's in the mortgage, we really have no choice but to follow that.
I didn't have a chance to really read this mortgage, but I would have a few questions on it if they could be answered by the next time we vote on it.
Yes, if we want to. So the owner has kind of asked that the details as far as the project themselves would be kept
Okay.
out of public discussion, but as far as what we're being asked today is just to allow them to invoke this clause, which is that 20 acres or 20% of the acreage can be developed. What they've submitted is that it would be exactly 20% of the total acreage. And so what I would ask is just approval only if they can then show that the project complies with that paragraph. If the project complies with the paragraph, then it would be submitted again for final approval. I think they just need us to take this first step so that they can move forward and give us some more information.
So this was part of the assignment and assumption of the note back in 2011.
Exactly. In 2011, as some of you know, the mortgage or the loan for the Dearborn County Country Club was redone, kind of reassigned. It was extended to a 30-year loan at 0% interest, and the people who run the country club have been paying that payment every single month with no problems. When that mortgage was negotiated, there was a clause or a provision that said if they ever wanted to, they could develop on that property, but only if it's up to or less than 20% of the total acreage. The really kind of limited proposal that they've sent complies with that, and it says it will be less than 20%. What I want to do is say that we kind of approve this, but only upon them giving us some more information, and I think those steps will allow them to kind of take a further step, and then you'll see it again before we sign this.
So track 1 is 33.4 and track 2 is 11.6.
Exactly. That's what we'd like to confirm. Mr. Fetty and I were kind of meeting today. We'd like to see maybe some plans that kind of confirm that these are exactly 20% or less. Kind of get with Mike and Mario to have them take a look too, and have you guys take a look. So I think if we can just get conditional approval on this phase of the agreement and then ask them for more supporting information, that'll help you guys make a final decision. And as long as they're complying with the clause in the mortgage, then basically we have to allow them to do this.
The only other thing I would recommend that we change the clerk's name to
Yes, I
Yes.
pointed that out.
it's Richard Richardson at this time on the documentation.
Catch, Tom.
I'd like to
Their,
know,
their lawyer lives in Arizona, so
That's fine. I just,
I'd like to know
you
the
gotta be
total.
politically correct here.
that's right.
I'd like to know what they owe us, and if we give away this 20%, or allow them to sell this 20%, is the property left enough to cover what they owe?
Sure, and that's
And, does the proceeds of sale of the land go to pay off the mortgage?
they would not. So the clause, and this would, I talked to Joe Votal, who was the city attorney at the time, and I talked to Mario this morning a little bit, kind of unfairly put him on the spot, like I always do. I make him remember things from 20 years ago. But essentially,
wasn't.
everyone kind of remembers negotiating this at the time. So this is a deal that the city cut with the Dearborn Country Club folks to say, you're going to take on this loan, you're going to pay it back 30 years, 0% interest, $5,000 a month, monthly payment. And if at any time in the future we want to develop part of it, we can, but it's got to be less than 20%. So it was all pre-negotiated, and that's what I wanted to do, was find out as much as I could about why they made that deal.
Are they on council then? The loan committee, because I've never seen this where they could develop 20%. I've
was
never seen
a-
that actual,
For the mortgage?
yeah, for the mortgage. Another thing I want to know, is that property in Lawrenceburg, or are we allowed to annex it once it's in there? I mean, to get some money back?
It's not in Lawrenceburg, it's in Aurora.
But
It's in Lawrenceburg
can
Township, City of
Can we
Aurora.
annex, and we make that part of it, that it be annexed to Lawrenceburg, so we get the,
I would venture to say, and Mr. Clark can probably back me up, they've changed the annexation rules.
It's too far away from our existing corporate boundary. Number one criteria is you have to have a certain percentage of contiguous line with your boundary to annex. We'd have to do 3 or 4 annexations
Well-
first to get to it before we could even meet the annexation criteria.
but isn't part of Dearborn Country Club the property owned in Lawrenceburg?
No,
No, the back half is?
no. Part of it may be in Lawrenceburg Township.
And see, I remember back in them discussions of this, that was the possibility of annexing it, but now it doesn't show up nowhere.
Well, I can look into that,
It was done.
Tony. I had the same question that you have, because that, it does touch lots that are in Lawrenceburg on Wilson Creek Road. However, it is in City of Aurora, Lawrenceburg Township, but I would share the same kind of concerns that Mayor and Mike brought up, just with annexation. There are a lot of things that need to be in place that may not apply to this
Well,
property.
maybe the
but we
laws-
can ask about it.
Maybe the laws have changed, but I know at one time Lawrenceburg was going to annex property off of 74 one time. So I guess they have changed now. But I'd like to have those questions answered before I vote on it.
You got it,
All right, but
sir.
So all we're doing tonight is asking for a motion for a conditional, for us to make sure that the 20% is being met per the mortgage contract.
Yeah, so vote to conditionally approve this so long as their representations comply with the provision contained in the mortgage.
Okay, and then we will be brought back the final agreement to be signed, or development agreement, or whatever.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
now is that sewer line ran for those properties now,
I'm not sure.
or are we gonna run it?
Oh, no.
That would be Aurora, I believe.
Or LMS.
Yeah, they're running, I would think they'd run that down State Route 148.
I know, but there was talk at one time about us running the sewer lines down through there. I wanna make sure if that's somewhere in this agreement or not, or what. That it's not in this agreement.
Okay, I'll ask about it. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, so I entertain a motion to conditionally approve this, just to verify that it does cover the piece in the
What we've
mortgage
signed.
agreement that satisfies the 20%.
So moved. I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Second, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Dell. Motorcycle track lease.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, you have in your packets for consideration tonight the lease agreement for the motorcycle track. This is the exact same lease agreement that we are currently operating under that lasts until the end of 2021. The person who has always run this for us, Herschel, has done an incredible job. His nephew, is that correct, Mario? Barry? Grandson, I apologize. Barry, you here? Okay. Barry is here, so he and Herschel are jointly requesting that Barry replace Herschel's name on the lease, and that is the only change. So we took the lease agreement that we drafted and just put Barry's name in that. I know Barry had some other requests that we consider maybe extending out the term of the lease, but what our preference would be just legally is to just let this run until March 2021. And then obviously when that lease expires, then we would negotiate a new lease and just follow any of the rules that we need to. So essentially it's just replacing Herschel with Barry. And Barry's been kind enough to come to the meeting and he can answer any questions that you have.
I have none.
I'm all for it, but I got one question for him. You wouldn't be interested in a tent that's right next to your motorcycle track, would you? So, sell it cheap. We'll sell it cheap. You need storage.
You gotta move it.
You need storage. There you go.
Yeah, you can.
So that's not in the contract.
I'll make a motion to move ahead with it.
Can I get a second to approve the change on the lease agreement?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Herschel. All right, old business. Wait, anybody got anything under new business that was? Okay.
No.
Old business, Mr. Clark, 2020 asphalt patching and repair award.
Thank you, Your Honor. Last meeting, we received 2 bids. We took it under advisement. I included the tally sheet in your packets. We went through and scored them as we do each year. And this year, Dave O'Mara outscored Paul H. Rowe Company, and it would be my recommendation to award that project to Dave O'Mara.
Questions?
I have none.
I have none.
If there aren't, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2020 asphalt patching and repair award to Dave O'Mara.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I have no additional old business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
I second it.
I'm sorry. All in favor?
I'll second
Aye.
it again.
Opposed?
I like doing that.
Motion carries. All right, utility board as soon as we're seated.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Yeah, it'll just be-
You doing that before the parks and playground? I guess it is. No, them are yours. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to,
Yeah,
I just didn't want you to forget.
yep, no, we got it. Got it, brother.
Got it. Sort of. Who we got here now?
The reason
Parks or utilities?
he told me that this is our police vehicles and that they get here and that they don't crumble. They go to the speed post and stop.
Okay, I'll call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for March the 2nd, 2020. Roll call, Mr. Fetty.
Sure. Board member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board member Justin Nobbert. Yes, sir. Board member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board member Lenny Fryman.
Present.
Board member Brett Von Durant. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements? I have none for this meeting. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I have no committee reports tonight. New business, Mr. Weldon, Flaherty and Collins Electric Agreement.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Utility Service Board, in your packet you'll find for consideration and approval tonight, an electric extension agreement. This is the agreement by and between the Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities and Flaherty and Collins. This agreement was actually drafted and approved by the utility board in the previous administration, and it was sent back to Flaherty and Collins, and they just had one change that they requested that we make, and we've inserted that change in the terms of the way that there would be construction costs credited to them and repaid. So that was a change that was requested by Flaherty and Collins attorneys. It was approved by the attorneys that we have at in Indianapolis representing us and working on the project as well. And so I would recommend that we approve this contract with that change.
Okay, again, reviewing this, I go under number 1, description of development. It says the site plan for the development is included in the attached Exhibit A. I have no Exhibit A.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why these aren't in the packets,
I don't
but
either.
it's okay. We'll get them in and we can table this, or I can send you the whatever.
I would be
exhibits
fine
are.
with that as long as I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the documentation that we're going to approve. I'd like to have all of it, basically what I'm saying.
I agree. They should be in here.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Again, I've looked.
No, yeah, I've been through it too.
I don't have it
It
either.
does, we don't have it.
Yeah,
That'd be Mark's fault.
I'm not sure whose it is.
Blame,
That's really irrelevant.
Look at him passing it
blame
down.
somebody who's not here.
Suzanne.
Can we get that sent to them in the morning?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Okay, so motion on the floor is to, is under what, number 6?
It's number 1, description and development, and it's supposed to have, it's explanation under Exhibit A, and we don't have Exhibit A in this.
Yeah, we're gonna get that to you in the morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought
I
you were
meant-
still
I
going
meant
on that.
the motion to approve the change.
Okay.
We're gonna get you that too, Tom.
Yep.
Yep,
I
in the
thought
morning.
you were going number 6 on the,
Is number
pertaining
6
to
the
this.
construction costs? Is that where you read that from?
Yes, and so that's the change. But we would just approve the entire document.
Okay. All right. Any other questions first?
Now, was this part of this $410,000, is this part of the 15 that we're putting in?
This was utility driven.
This is utility part.
This is in addition to the 15
to
million
get utilities to the
to
contract.
the site.
Yep. And so the principle behind this contribution as with any utility project and a capital outlay is that we're investing some capital, but it's based on the returns that we'll get from utilities. And that's always been a big part of this Flaherty and Collins project, is how much utility money we're getting back and how much tax revenue we're getting back, which will result in a full repayment of our investment.
This is the estimated cost that we put together for them to construct this.
Yeah, this is what they've used
Available power.
to take to their bank as well. And that's correct, right? They took this to their lender?
Yep.
Okay.
So do we have what were the changes from the original agreement under number 6 construction costs? That was what was a little bit unclear to me, because we don't have the original agreement in front of us.
Sure.
It's, I think the original, correct me if I'm wrong, Del, but
Yeah.
I think the original, didn't they want that in the form of, it was given to them sort of in a form of a loan, and the bank said they couldn't do it that way?
Exactly. So the way it was written is that the clause required, I'm just pulling out my email, so Amanda Reddick is with Ice Miller, and she represents Flaherty and Collins, and then Zach and I locally, and then Bruce Donaldson at Barnes and Thornburg are representing the city. The original language that was in the electric extension agreement that was presented last year required that to be paid back if the project shouldn't happen. So the bank read that and interpreted it as a loan, whether or not they should have, and that was holding up their financing. Of course, this investment would only be made if the project happened, so it's really not necessary.
Need to put it in, right?
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So they've estimated the $410,000 as our estimated cost, but we would only incur that cost if the project happens and we commit our capital to the project. So we felt that provision wasn't necessary, and if it was hurting their ability to get funding, that we could take it out and still be covered and protected.
So do we have any type of a clause in here that say they do start the project and we have the capital outlay on our side of things and we get it up there and then they default in some manner that we have some type of recovery?
Part of the development
I mean,
agreement.
yeah, just
It was part of the development agreement. We might, you guys, they probably need a copy of the I don't think you guys have seen a copy of the
That'd be helpful.
development agreement.
yeah.
I agree.
So
I mean, it was already
the
approved.
410,000, that's all we will owe no matter what. If it goes over that, is that they
This was-
make or anything,
what we're gonna
then
spend, yeah.
they're responsible for it.
This was just an
anything over.
estimate to get utilities ran to the,
That's what it's gonna cost us to
And
put
this
that
is
in.
just electric, so this is
Right.
just estimated cost just for the electric to the
Right.
apartment complex.
That's what I'm saying, and it says that we're responsible for 100% of it. Say we start doing this, and instead of $410,383, it costs $460,000. Are they responsible for the other 50,000, or are we responsible for that?
we're responsible up to 410,383.
Just 410, that's it.
That's what
They
the-
pay the rest.
That's exactly what it says.
But these numbers came from us, so the 410 is our estimate.
Yeah.
So we more than likely had our electric department come up with these numbers.
Exactly, yeah, and the electric department and our LMU team generated this entire document.
Good questions. Any other questions?
Well, okay, was this 410 back then, did that number come up by the way the billing was being figured out back then? Where the LMU was charging the city for the man hours and the
No,
insurance?
no, I don't know. I don't know. This was before the poll.
Before the poll, okay.
BP.
Yeah, I think if I read through this, it's basically more the material than it is any.
Well, so
labor
I was
cost.
hoping it might be less than that.
It was, if you remember, I think the discussion was, it was more on the capital outlay side.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. We'll get you the Exhibit A. Tommy is requested.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
I would entertain a motion to approve the electric extension agreement for the Flaherty and Collins project as proposed.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think Andy Lyons was gonna be here, but I don't think he's here. Yeah, that's fine. We'll table that and can I get a motion to table the Lawrenceburg Wellhead Protection Plan, update?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll get that on the next agenda.
And I had questions.
So did I.
Okay, no other new business. I have no old business. Could I get a motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I get an, who approved minutes?
Oh, who approved the minutes?
Must have been Tommy.
I would venture to say it was probably me, 'cause I probably stumbled again. So
I got
I'll make
Lenny
that
from
You
motion.
did not stumble on this one. Who had said?
I got Lenny first, and then I.
Maybe it was
second.
Tommy doing it second.
All right. So Tommy
I'll take
first,
the fall.
It don't matter.
Lenny Tommy.
Lenny Tommy.
Lenny Tommy.
Up ahead.
Sorry.
Leonard
Y'all's
Thomas.
got it in his notes right here.
That's right.
Leonard Thomas.
There you go.
Okay. Anything else, Suzanne?
No, sorry.
Okay, you're fine. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second. Got that one, didn't I? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry, okay. All right, call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for March 2nd, 2020. Roll call, Mr. Fetty.
All right, board member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board member Justin Nobbert.
Yes, sir.
Board member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board member Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Board member Brett Bondurant. Yes, sir. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, I have no announcements under parks. Anyone got anything? Okay. We do have the playground equipment on order, is that correct? And,
Yeah, we executed the contract and those proceeded last Friday.
okay, and then I'll talk about the demo here under new business, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. New business, I got a couple things here. I hate saying Arch Street Gang, because
Foundation.
it's such a negative connotation.
all
There's
grown
such a
up.
good group of guys and gals.
Foundation.
And, yeah. Arch Street Foundation, Arch Street Gang Foundation, we'll do that.
Gang Foundation.
ASGF,
Yes.
there you go. Easter egg hunt is April 11th. They just need approval. Are we doing it down at Todd Creech?
Yes.
Okay, they need approval to use Todd Creech Park on April 11th.
So moved.
Okay, which one so moved?
So moved.
Tony did. Tony got that one. Second?
I'll second it.
Oh, Brett.
Thanks for breaking it up down there.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pride Parade, you can X that out. They have decided to go a different direction. I don't believe they're gonna have the parade itself. They're just gonna have their event. And I think they're gonna do it at Agner Hall, so they're working through the clerk treasurer's office for a date,
Do we
so,
need a motion on that?
no.
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 Do either of these events, do they require any of our support as far as policing or staffing or anything like that? Do we?
The ASGF doesn't, I don't believe. The only thing for the Pride Parade, we usually do provide some police presence
Yes,
at
we
their
do.
event.
Yes, we do.
And and if any of the parades, obviously we
sure.
do.
Mayor, they requested last year to put up some of the water barricades
Oh.
because they're afraid somebody's gonna run them over, so we went over and put some barricades up just to deflect anything that would happen.
Okay.
Any
Their
other
last
concerns?
year was.
They're looking at having this one at Fairgrounds this year. Talking about Pride.
This is when they had it over at Agner Hall outside. They had
Oh,
they
okay.
had all that over there. We went over and put water barricades
Oh.
up. They had some people that drove by and threatened them, so we went over with the crew and put a few of them to help deflect and.
Got it, okay. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. Okay, also, what I'd like to ask a motion for tonight, the playground equipment that we're taking out up on Ludlow Hill Park. We were approached by the Lauren Hill Park Committee about, they would like to have that equipment. Obviously, we'd have to go through the dollar thing, I think. We gotta sell it to them for $1 and get a hold harmless. And we just, they're willing to do all that because, any playground equipment has to be certified when it gets put back up and everything, which that's gonna be on them. But they're willing to do the demo then, which saves us money, right? They're willing to do the demo and move the equipment.
Wow.
So I'm asking, I guess, for a motion to, I guess, allow them to purchase the playground equipment for $1.
And part of that was the demo was not included with the bid. Is that correct on the original?
Right, we were gonna do that.
So that's it'd be a
We were gonna
huge
do that
savings.
in-house, so it
for
saves
them to-
our folks.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Before we do it, is there any liability on our part if something happens with them by taking it down?
Well, not while we're taking it down. We're gonna get them to make sure that we get all the necessary paperwork up front, hold harmless, things like that. Because also when they put it back up, we gotta make sure that we can't be held or accountable for anything that could
Efficiency,
happen.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, good point.
I'll make a motion to down to Motor Hill Foundation.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, seconded by
Yeah.
Justin? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And one other I didn't get put on here in time, guys, and I'm sorry. St. Lawrence, their annual, second annual 5K that they have up on the levee, they just wanted approval to do that on August the 15th.
I'll make a motion to allow.
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I got one question back
sir.
to the Ludlow Hill Park.
Yes.
I heard talk that they were gonna widen the paths to allow golf carts, or they want to, or people want to. Have you heard anything about that?
Widen what path?
The
Walking paths.
The walking paths inside the park to allow
I have
widen
not-
up for golf carts?
Not heard anything about that.
Okay.
I don't know why we would.
I
Got a road. They got a road.
Say, I don't
Say
know
they
how
got a
safe
road
that
up
is.
there.
I don't know
I
how
didn't hear
safe that would be.
Tony. I don't know.
I've had some questions saying, are they doing that? And I don't know, but I'll ask.
Not that I'm aware of.
I wouldn't want golf carts on the same path that the pedestrians are walking anyway. I wouldn't think that'd be too smart. Okay.
Good question. Okay. Under old business, only item I've got is city rental properties. We're talking about the ones we rent out to the public, such as Agner Hall. And we rented out the firehouse and actually Boy Scout cabin has been used, or Boy Scout, I guess we'll call it a cabin.
Do we still rent out the firehouse?
Well,
He's
what we'd
saying-
like to do is no longer rent the firehouse out for one reason. We're gonna be sticking a lot of money into the AV over there for training purposes. What's happened in the past is the AV that we have over there has been damaged by different, not probably intentionally, by different parties happening in there.
Yep.
So what Diane over at the clerk treasurer's office, who handles all the rentals, her and I and Mario, and we met and we talked about this. We'll continue, obviously, we're renting Agner Hall out, right? We just did some upgrades over there and things. But we're gonna, say, hey, if you wanna have a bridal shower or, a birthday party, the Boy Scout cabin is available whenever the Boy Scouts aren't using it, which they don't use it that often. And we've talked to Chris Nutley and that group. We just purchased new tables and chairs down there for them, I think a year ago. So it's a nice building as well. So that, we're gonna get that written up. Rental fees and stuff to bring to you guys, but we wanted to make you guys aware that was happening.
Now, at the Boy Scouts cabin, there would be no beer allowed though, would there, like Agner Hall?
Right,
would you allow
which
beer
we didn't
there, or-
allow at Firehouse either.
Right.
Yeah, Agner Hall is the only,
Okay.
that wouldn't change, Tony, but
You might want to add the pavilion on there for the pool. It's not rented out much, but sometimes it is rented out, and it is available for rental.
do they do that usually through the pool though, or they do
They-
it through Diane?
They do it through the clerk's
clerk treasurer?
office. And then when they do rent it
Gotta
off,
add
if
that
they've
too.
got to mark it off during the pool season, then they
Okay,
just
The,
put up yellow tape.
the pool manager actually puts it in the book, though.
You
we're
guys
gonna
work
refer to
together, I
her
don't know
with the
exactly who.
dates. Yeah,
who gets paid for it?
we do.
Okay, well, then we probably ought to have it as part of we'll get Diane to include that in the packet.
You guys might want to come up with a price for that too. It's not very much.
We used to have one.
I know we have a price, but it wasn't very much. I don't think it paid for the lights being on.
$1,000 a night?
There you go.
Yeah, we'll come up with something when we bring it all back to you, and then you guys can evaluate it and see if it makes sense.
All right.
Okay. All right. That's all I had under old business for parks. If nothing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg City Council meeting for March 2nd, 2020. Everyone could rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance Okay, Mr. Fetty, can I get
All
a
right.
roll call, please?
Councilperson Tony Abbott. Here. Councilperson Justin Nobbert.
Yes, sir.
Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Councilperson Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
Police Chief David Schneider.
Here.
Assistant Fire Chief Rob Schutte.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Ryan Messmore. Here. City Court Judge Joe Johns is absent. Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Under announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Tony Abbott.
I have none.
Finance, Mr. Bondurant.
No report in finance, but in addition to finance, we did have a internal control board meeting on the 19th of February. I think we're looking at setting one up again towards the end of the year, so we've got some good things in place. I'll let you know when we have another one.
Okay, great. Thank you. Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Noppert.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
And Fire, Mr. Olet.
Nothing to report.
Okay, I would like to just put this out on your radar, and I should be able to firm it up tomorrow if everyone's available. I'd like to potentially have an executive session on Friday at 4 o'clock, if available.
Friday at 4.
Get off at 3:30.
Yeah, you better let me check just to make sure. But put me down tentatively, yes.
Let me know tomorrow,
Yeah.
and I'll let you guys know, but if you can't make it, I'll get with you, Tom. Okay, 'cause
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that on your radar, guys. And I just want to let everybody know that I will not be present at the next meeting, which is March 16th. My wife scheduled a vacation without looking at the calendar and did this months ago, and I didn't know about it, so I'm sorry.
All right, could we go back to my report, streets, alleys, and
Yes, you
curbs?
can.
I've got one. Where's our city trees that we were supposed to get for like the last 4 years?
What trees?
The city trees. Don't worry, next meeting, when you're not here, I'll take care of
I like that.
it. Good one.
I do like that.
We'll get that,
Been waiting on that.
we'll get that passed in. But in all honesty, what's going on with our tree program? We joined the Arbor program and through the LMU, we even paid for it. And we were supposed to have somebody down here from Purdue and somewhere else to talk to us about it, the trees we could pick to put in our city, and I haven't heard anything more about it.
Well,
Trees are a bad word in Lawrenceburg, and that's just the opposite of the way it should be.
Is that the free trees
Yeah, free trees.
for downtown residents?
Yes.
I remember.
that you didn't sign up for?
I signed up for it. I'm gonna plant my own. I'm getting tired looking at the sun on my
Any
front
tree that was
porch.
on the front curb appeal on the front of a property, was it not on residential? That was,
It was, well, if you go around town, there's a lot of trees that were taken out that were in, had the tree rings at the sidewalk, right? And if you've noticed in the last 2 weeks, we've had, I believe, Ryan Howard and Nippenberg out fixing these problems.
concreting them.
Which
all.
I don't mind that, cause it's, for the wheelchairs and everything, that was dangerous, cause it cut into the sidewalk.
Right.
Which is fine, but still, that 4-foot space is plenty of room for a tree, for the right kind of trees to plant. Mine's 4 foot, 3 foot. I don't care. Mike, we've had this argument time and time again. I've gone to city after city, and there's a spot this big around with a tree planted into it on sidewalks, all over the place.
We got people from Purdue down here that we got a grant for them to complete study.
Yeah, and we never got another thing back from them. We were supposed to get things that we could put on our sidewalk that would allow the trees to be planted there. Did we not, Satch? Nope. What do you mean, nope? Well, all right.
I knew that was
All right. Let me change that, Mr. Seymour.
Never signed up.
We were supposed to. Let me change that. We were supposed to get things to go into our sidewalks to allow the trees, and we were supposed to have samples of them. Right, put over at Civil City. We never got those. You're right. So there's ways we can plant trees There's ways we can plant trees that only grow 15 foot tall. I don't care if they're 15 foot or 30 foot, but we can plant trees.
Hey, we'll do this, Tony. You know what? You're right. You have brought this up a number of times, and I get it. I would ask that you work with Mr. Clark.
Well, that's gonna be good.
I would just ask that you guys work out a fix to this that makes sense, but you're gonna have to, if you two don't agree, so. you're
Smaller
gonna have
trees. I'll just wait till I get the flu
Let
bug
Mario be the
again.
mediator.
Mediator. You know what I'm saying, though, if you can figure out a fix, a good fix, I mean, let's by all
Okay,
means
but,
approach it.
we need to look into LMU where we join the arbor. And
Can you?
would
yeah,
you
go
look
ahead,
up on that, Crystal? Cause we signed up for a program.
We filled out the application last year and sent it in, and there were a few email correspondences, but then nothing further happened. So I do have a contact. I'd be happy to try to continue that
See,
conversation.
last time I
Follow up on
talked to the,
Yeah, I can follow up on
last
that.
time I talked to them, they said they were coming down the city to talk to us in October.
Yeah, there was something, but nothing transpired from that, so I can definitely follow up on it for you.
I would like for you guys to fight for this too, please. It's
Well,
been
I was
an
gonna
8 year-
ask you,
It's been an 8-year fight
These
for
real
me.
big trees, what about dogwoods? They're white, and you get them different colors. They don't
Dogwoods-
get real tall and they ain't real
dogwoods
big
split-
around.
Dogwood split too easy. You're gonna find out there's something wrong with every tree you name.
There's something wrong with all of them, but they don't get tall and ain't gonna bust your
You check
concrete.
on that.
Yeah, I'll follow up and let you know, Tony.
All right, thank
There's
you.
a committee, Crystal, Mike, and Tony.
Tony, get with me.
Oh, Lord, don't put me
Crystal,
on.
you're the mediator.
Stop in sometime.
I'll stop in tomorrow. I'll get with Mike.
Crystal is the mediator between you two.
All righty.
No, we don't want mulberry trees.
I'm just gonna wait till I get the flu bug. I'm gonna wait till I get the flu bug again
Okay.
and talk to him.
All right, now that you interrupted the meeting, you want to go forward?
I got one
Forgot
more.
about it and you
We got-
remembered.
we
I've
got
got
something
one more.
Okay.
We had decided this,
Street tallies and
the
curbs.
last council and the council before, and I think the council before said we're gonna put a tree up for Mrs. Rudolph in Arch Street Park to replace the one that was originally there when we moved the parks. And we never have done that. A dogwood. A sequoia.
Okay, Tony.
I don't care.
Tony, okay, well, you pick the tree and Mario will get we'll get it planted and do a dedication.
Okay.
Do that in the form of a
Connie.
motion.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, a
Hey, good
plaque.
point. Hey,
Do you know
Yes,
the
thank you.
relatives that live
That's
here
what I was thinking.
today? Isn't there?
Lives over in the Fairhaven,
Who?
Trina,
Trina and
she's a granddaughter.
Penny? Wasn't there a
That's a
Penny?
granddaughter, Connie?
She lives over in Fairhaven East.
Okay.
Could you get her phone number, how I get a hold of her? Dennis?
Tony, we still have a plaque, it's Jamie's over the old shop over. Used to be a plaque with the old tree when they took it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Great, great.
Put a new
All right.
shop.
And we'll do a rededication, how's that?
That's fine, that's great.
Sounds good.
I had it out there.
I know.
Just,
For those of you in the audience, Mrs. Rudolph was a woman that always took care of Arch Street Park. She didn't let us kids fight, so she would walk across the street, 15 brooms in her hand, made us clean it all up. Everybody stopped what they were doing, playing, and you helped clean up, or she's gonna beat you with one of them brooms.
And that wasn't all the time. Sometimes the Arch Street gang got some fights going on there.
Oh, yeah, we did,
Yes, thank you.
but she would get over and
Now
break it
they've
up.
grown up.
Tony was early the only one that got the broom.
That's because they allowed the women in.
There you go.
Moving on.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Do you want that for a motion that he's the one that
Yes, I
selects that
think,
tree?
can I get a motion to?
I'll make that motion that Mr. Abbott select a tree for Mrs. Rudolph.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll do it.
Opposed? Good. Good deal. All right. Now I forget where we're at.
We're back to
Approval of minutes. Can I get
Well, I'll
a,
make the motion to approve the minutes, but we do have one thing pertaining them we had on the kiosk.
what you got?
We had a motion by Lenny Fryman, and we don't have a second, unless I made that second and they just forgot me.
I might
Glad you
have
brought
done
that
it.
up, cause I was gonna ask
So other
that.
than that was,
We can go back and take a look at the,
Yes, it's not in there. We,
Audio,
Fill it out,
video.
the
it
minutes
was,
are fine.
Lenny
That's
should
my
have
fault.
motioned, Tommy should have seconded it, but it does not say a second.
I'll be the
in
fall
there.
guy.
I remember that. It was Tommy. He just quiet
Thank you.
about it.
We can go back and take a look and see it. That,
So I'll make the motion, Mayor.
okay, motion on the floor to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Second by Justin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, Assistant Fire Chief.
Same
Rob
as stated in Board of Works.
All right, buddy. Police Chief David Snyder.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a couple things for council. A couple positive things. You know, we're still looking at ways to, I know we have our public safety night in late summer, but we're always looking at ways to ramp up our community policing efforts and being, you know, in touch with the community and being available to them in a positive light as your local police agency here. And we came up with a couple of things here that we're going to be doing. I just want to share with you. We've done this once before. We're a rural community. We're offering a LPD, a Lawrenceburg Police Hunters Education course, and that's at the fire department on March 7th. They were gracious enough to let us use the firehouse. I know that we've done this before. We ran this via our Facebook, the Lawrenceburg Police page. There were 40 local children signed up for it in less than 3 hours, and there was 20 or 30 on standby. So the demands there, the volunteer instructors are Andy Klein, Bill Howbig, Morgan Hedrick, myself, and Jacob Jump. This is something positive we're going to do for the community that's not going to cost us any money. Basically, there will be small prizes, food and drinks going to be provided. We would like to ask council or the mayor. I think you did this once in the past. We'd like a city representative to be there for maybe a welcome message.
Happy to do it.
And
When
that's
is it?
March 7th. That's this. Is that this Saturday? Yeah.
This Saturday, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Akron Hall.
We're at the firehouse location.
I don't have anything to do.
What time?
So, or 8 o'clock, 8 a.m.
Gee.
Dave,
Yeah.
does this certify kids to be able to hunt? I mean, you know, because now.
Yeah,
kids
this
have-
gives them the certification they need to hunt legally in the state of
Oh,
Indiana.
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
we've,
great.
we've done this once before, it went over just as big. We're looking at the demand of it and maybe doing it twice a year, but we're pretty stocked up with some other things that we're gonna do later in the year, such as the public firearm safety and so on and so forth. But the demand's definitely there, Tony.
Yeah. What's the age?
They can go as low as 7 years old to 18.
I'll have two of them there.
Yeah.
My grandson, my 18-year-old's been wanting to get this course taken. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The only other thing I want to tell you guys, there is we're in the process of getting a team together, our police department is, for the Superhero Bowl for Kids' Sake of Southeast Indiana. And what this is Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Southeast Indiana, a very worthwhile venture, where we're gonna, on the 8th, we're gonna be down at the Dearborn Bowl with a team of police officers bowling with these kids and raising money and doing some pretty cool and interesting things. So really looking forward to that. It's a worthwhile venture, and like I say, it's just another piece of our community policing efforts that we continue to maintain throughout the course of this administration.
Now, when is that?
What's that?
When is that, the bowling thing?
It's on the 8th.
On the 8th?
Yep.
Now, is there age limit to this, or?
Well, it's anybody that's in the Big Brothers Big Sisters
Okay.
program. I know Attorney Weldon's really involved in that program, and we did talk to him about it. It's a very worthwhile venture.
Yep.
There again, we're not doing anything out of the ordinary. We're showing up there with a team. We're donating our time to be there for the kids.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Dave, I have one other question while we got you here. Last summer, we had where the Lawrenceburg police were to walk through the parks, like Arch Street Park and, you know, Tate Street over here. Are we gonna do that again this summer? I think it's great for the kids. It's like my 10-year-old goes to Central School. He just loves that school officer. He gets to talk to him every morning. He looks up to him, and
Yeah.
that instills a little respect for officers as children. So will we still be doing that this summer? Having them walk through the parks, actually not just parking there in front of it, but actually walking through the parks, talking to the kids?
Well, first off, Councilman, I want to say thank you for that compliment. We have stepped up, getting actually out of our police cruisers, getting out and intermingling with the public. We have bicycle patrol. We were ramping them up. We got 2 new bikes. It's in the budget that we're ordering this year. We put another officer to the bicycle patrol program. You know, I would like to see a bicycle officer downtown more regular. And it's because of things like that, you know, when the skate park ramps up and there's a lot of people feet on the ground down there, it's good community policing and it's good PR, to be honest with you, but we get to know these kids in the community and we get to know who's using our parks.
That's a big thing.
And that's the best thing of it.
Yeah.
Good. That's big.
Good. I'd
Lenny
like to
would
see that
do a
continue.
ride along on the bike.
Heck,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got him one. A trike.
Got your bike, Lenny. Dan, we got you a bike, buddy.
With trainer wheels, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got, Your Honor. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, EMS Director Rick Clark.
Thank you, sir. I left information for monthly stats and a copy of our paramedic Chase People program. If anyone has any questions, just let me know. But that's all I have, sir.
Okay. New business, Mr. Weldon, SERPA reorganization ordinance.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Common Council for City of Lawrenceburg, what we have is an ordinance that will actually repeal and replace the current existing ordinance. So in our current code, starting at section 32.125, September in 2013, we established a port authority. 32.125 establishes it, then 126 sets the board of directors, 127 sets procedure, 128 sets the compensation of board members. The reason that we are asking for passage of this ordinance is because in 2013, when we created our portion of the code, Greendale, the city of Greendale was not included. So this change replaces everything, but it adds Greendale and it changes the at-large memberships. So you'll see that Greendale is added, and when you look at 125, the establishment is the same. So it's established Indiana, Southeastern Indiana Regional Port Authority. It's established under the laws of Indiana Code 81051. You get to 126, the board of directors. We added the mayor of City of Greendale, and then we also added 2 at-large representatives appointed by the mayor of the City of Greendale. The Southeastern Indiana Regional Port Authority is a combined body of Aurora, Greendale, Lawrenceburg, and Dearborn County. So all of those bodies have members that represent it, that are appointed, and the mayors of those 3 cities, and then a member of the Dearborn County Board of Commissioners, which is kind of like their mayor body. They all sit on that board, and they are able to make decisions and considerations that would affect the port that we hope to get one of these days here in Lawrenceburg. So again, this is just replacing the language that we already have in our code of ordinances. And Tommy, you're sitting next to me, so this is just, if you look, this is the current code, and then this just replaces it, but it adds in Mayor Greendale and then at-large for Greendale. So that's all it does.
I've just got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So I thought this was volunteer program, board all this time.
It is.
It says they're compensated.
They don't get compensated.
They do not get compensated, because that was my next question. If they do get compensated, where does that come from?
Exactly.
No compensation.
No
That was
compensation.
thank you, that was a question I had as well. Because it says right in there, each board member and director shall be entitled to receive from the Port of Authority such sum money as the board of directors may determine as compensation. So,
Yeah, but they
that was in
chose not,
128.
they chose not to compensate.
Okay, that's fine.
Can we strike that out of the agreement then?
Well, this isn't the agreement that the Port Authority came up with for all 3 communities. It's not something we've come up with.
So we're mirroring their language. So Aurora, Lawrenceburg, Greendale, and the county all have the same thing.
I see as part of that, it says reimbursement for directors' reasonable expenses and performance of the director's duties. So if they gotta go somewhere, I don't expect them to pay for it themselves. I mean,
Correct.
Yeah.
But where does any money come from?
Well, they had originally had $600,000 that the city of Lawrenceburg gave them. I'm going back to Mayor Cars's, probably your administration.
They've
right?
got money, Tommy, but
Yeah, but they don't spend.
that was put in there by the attorneys in Indianapolis. We decided not to pay anybody. So
Do they still have 600,000?
Minus what they pay their attorney.
I knew somebody get paid somewhere.
I don't know
along
what
the
they got
line.
left. I really don't.
Got paid as the attorney.
I believe that.
That's really, that's what it's saying.
Yeah,
got some money left.
There may not be much there, huh, Dale?
They're always picking on the attorney.
I wasn't gonna touch that.
Thanks, Tommy, I appreciate it.
We love you, Dale.
Thank you.
Any other
Love you
questions,
too.
guys?
I'm sorry, what number is this?
2-2020.
So, all right, if, I entertain them, oh, go ahead, you got another question there?
No, I said we had him flustered. He didn't know what number it was.
The only other question, excuse me, I would have, we only have to do 3 readings on this, correct?
We don't, if it's unanimous.
Yeah, right, that's what you said last time.
That's way off.
Just for
Razor's
clarification.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm a little slow.
Nope, you're fine. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2-2020, provided it is unanimous in the vote to pass on the first reading tonight.
So moved.
I
Second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
I was a little late.
Oh, yeah, you were late. All those in favor again?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? No. All right, that motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Fetty, you've got a couple semi-annual grant reports from SERPSI?
Yeah, just wanted to mention, to get them in the minutes of the meeting. We got 2 grants here. We got the Dearborn Adult Center, which is, the number is PF 16106. Just basically, just to kind of mention in the meeting, and to date, pretty much most of this money's already been spent here. It's $428,300. The other grant is the Lawrenceburg Community Center grant, which is PF-18-103. And once again, to date, the money spent on that is $750,195. And once again, just to mention them, to get them in the minutes.
I got a question for Mario on that. On the community center, how did that do? Did it get rid of the gas smell in there that the community centers had for like last 15 years? No, that's one way to get rid of the gas smell.
That helps.
Yeah, I guess so.
That helps.
All righty.
So you don't need to,
No, we don't need a motion.
you don't need a motion? Okay. All right, any old business up here?
I got one
Yes, sir.
question. I was addressed by the walking trail from Lawrenceburg to Aurora.
Lawrenceburg to Aurora?
Well, you know,
Okay.
on top of the
Yeah, Levy?
levee and stuff. They was talking about the goose doo-doo up in there.
Yep,
Now, did we clean that off?
we attempt to, yes.
They was hollering, they was up there and getting it all over them. I don't know if there's any way to get rid of the goose, huh?
You gotta talk to Mr. Seymour about that. It's your geese. It's your geese.
Open up,
I didn't know how that was took
geese.
care of.
open up a hunting season.
We,
Hunter's Ed program.
we've sent people up there, Lenny, we've sent people up there on a number of occasions.
Hit
and
trees.
power
Yeah,
washed
get some
it,
trees.
cleaned it
I
up.
run up there like
You just
it's
can't stay
landmark,
up
you
with it.
can't.
There's, it's nonstop,
It's back the same day,
Huh?
We'll do it.
and it's back, yeah,
3-4 times
that
a
afternoon.
year. We'll be over there at 9, 10 in the morning, and at 11 o'clock, we're back there. It's just, you can't do nothing.
Is there something that you can put up that maybe disturb the geese where they won't come up there or discourage them?
Be real careful because they're migratory.
I think they did try to put something, in the ground, I don't remember what it was,
Well, from what I've been told, if they leave the levee, they go to the Babe Ruth baseball fields.
Well,
We could just take turns
one's bad as
patrolling.
the other then.
If it makes you feel any better, we get them over at work too. But just think of that where I work.
Yeah.
Just saying,
yeah, you're right,
just saying.
you're right. So, I mean, I don't know what the solution is. It's obviously, it's been addressed on a number of occasions, it's just, I don't know if there's a,
Same
Kind
as
of
the
bad
down-
when you're up
same
there
as the
though, and you're walking
downtown-
or riding and it, get it all over you.
Same as the downtown pigeons. Maybe we need some cats up there, Dave.
Yeah. That'll get them.
next topic.
Please.
Okay. All right, entertain comments from the audience? Yes, sir?
If you hear the geese squawk, it sounds like they're saying, "Where's Paul?" So it might be, they're looking for it. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment on Chief Snyder. I've seen more police in Lawrenceburg, in Strong's, really cruising around Lawrenceburg and on 50. I've seen a lot of stopping going on. And I like Tony's idea with the skate park and the park over here, because as you knew last year, we had a few situations that people were complaining about. But I just wanted to make a comment that, you know, I've seen them all over the place. So, of course, if they stop me, I might not make that comment. But so far, it's been all right. I just wanted to thank you, Chief.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, if not, I've got one claim that's outside of your packet. Guys, you know, we moved the fiber claims to the city for payment for specific reasons. We've got one claim that I would like to pay. I know we're not doing the appropriations till next Monday night for the fiber fund, but this gentleman has been doing all the contract work for the city. He's gone a couple months now without being able to collect any money, and he still has people to pay and things like that. So I would like to recommend that we pay the one invoice tonight out of rainy day, and then once we get the fiber fund established, we'll repay rainy day with the fiber fund money. And this is for Erie cable services. And the total amount is $16,245.30.
I'll make the motion to pay.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now,
I'm
we're
sorry.
gonna have a meeting for fiber, is that the one on the 9th?
That's
And
for the
that's a-
appropriations.
And that's a work session,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
So anybody interested? What time is that?
Ours is at 4, but isn't it? Aren't we meeting at 4 and then 4:15's the work session? Am I
I think
correct?
there's
Redevelopment.
work sessions at 4:15's public hearing,
Right, yeah.
then a redevelopment meeting at
Because I
4:30.
thought, how can we speak in 15 minutes about that, but I guess we can.
It's just fair.
It's just to set up the
Yeah, okay,
appropriation.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second,
I second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second. Tommy, Tony?
I thought
All those in favor? Opposed?
Good meeting.
Motion carries.
All right, don't go anywhere, guys.
Be safe, everybody.
Everywhere.